One day, they will look back and regret the way they treated you. One day, they will realize that they had the best and that you love them in a way that nobody else can love them.
Have you ever noticed how a man's entire personality can shift the moment he decides a woman isn't attractive enough for him? Today, we're diving into something that millions of women experience, but rarely gets talked about openly. The stark difference in how men treat women they consider unattractive versus those they find appealing. And trust me, what I'm about to share might make you uncomfortable, but it's a reality we need to address. Let's start with something that happens every single day. Picture this scenario. A woman walks into a coffee shop, approaches the counter, and orders her drink. If she fits society's beauty standards, the barista might smile warmly, engage in friendly conversation, maybe even throw in a compliment about her outfit. But if that same woman doesn't meet those conventional standards, suddenly the interaction becomes robotic, cold, and purely transactional. Same person behind the counter, same order, completely different treatment. This isn't just about coffee shops, though. This behavior pattern shows up everywhere, in workplaces, social settings, online interactions, and even in basic customer service situations. The uncomfortable truth is that many men have been conditioned to view a woman's worth through the lens of her physical attractiveness, and this perception dramatically influences how much respect, kindness, and basic human decency she receives. Now, before anyone gets defensive, let me be clear. This isn't an attack on all men. There are plenty of guys who treat everyone with equal respect regardless of appearance. But we're talking about a widespread social pattern that affects millions of women daily, and pretending it doesn't exist won't make it disappear. So what does this differential treatment actually look like in practice?
I'm not chasing no man, and I'm not going to beg you and ask you twice. What you got to understand is the most precious thing to a man is time. But if a man don't feel like you important enough to come see about you, to come be in your space and dedicate his time to you.
Let's break it down into specific behaviors that women report experiencing consistently. First, there's the attention factor. Men often give significantly less eye contact, shorter responses, and minimal engagement to women they don't find attractive. Conversations become brief and focused solely on necessity rather than genuine human connection. Then there's the respect aspect. Women who don't fit conventional beauty standards often find their opinions dismissed more quickly, their expertise questioned more frequently, and their contributions to conversations overlooked or interrupted. It's as if their value as human beings becomes directly tied to their perceived attractiveness level. The social dynamics get even more complex in group settings. Watch what happens at a party or networking event. Men will often gravitate toward and invest more time in conversations with women they find attractive, while treating others as essentially invisible or as obstacles to navigate around. This creates a social hierarchy based purely on physical appearance. Online, this behavior becomes even more pronounced and often crueler. Dating apps provide perhaps the clearest window into this phenomenon. Women who don't meet certain beauty standards report receiving fewer matches, ruder messages, and more explicit judgments about their appearance. The anonymity of digital interaction seems to remove whatever social filters might exist in face-to-face encounters. But here's where it gets really problematic. This treatment affects women's opportunities and life outcomes in measurable ways. Studies have shown that conventional attractiveness can influence hiring decisions, salary negotiations, and career advancement opportunities. When men in positions of power unconsciously or consciously favor attractive women,
how many men would date an unattractive woman?
Exactly.
They wouldn't. They just simply wouldn't, okay? Because they have that standard. If you're unattractive, I don't want to date you. But once a woman has a standard, and it's like, if you're a broke guy, and with broke guys, I don't mean men that are poor.
No.
I mean men that don't know how to create.
It creates systemic inequalities that go far beyond hurt feelings. The workplace presents particularly challenging scenarios. Women who don't fit beauty standards often report being overlooked for client-facing roles, excluded from important networking opportunities, and receiving less mentorship and support from male colleagues and supervisors. Their professional contributions get evaluated through a lens that includes their appearance as a factor. What makes this even more insidious is how normalized it has become. Many men don't even recognize they're doing it because this behavior has been so deeply ingrained through cultural messaging, media representation, and social conditioning. They've been taught that a woman's primary value lies in her ability to be visually pleasing to men. The psychological impact on women cannot be understated. Constantly being treated as less worthy of basic human kindness and respect based on appearance creates lasting effects on self-esteem, confidence, and mental health. Many women internalize these messages and begin to believe they actually are worth less as people. Some women adapt by trying to maximize whatever physical appeal they have, spending enormous amounts of time, money, and mental energy on appearance enhancement. Others withdraw from social situations entirely to avoid the differential treatment. Both responses represent a significant cost imposed on women simply for existing in bodies that don't meet arbitrary beauty standards. The irony is that these same men who treat unattractive women poorly often expect to be valued for their personality, intelligence, humor, and character rather than their appearance. They want to be seen as complete human beings while simultaneously reducing women to their physical attributes. This creates a fundamental disconnect in human interaction where empathy and reciprocity break down.
One day you're going to realize that the same person doesn't come around twice in a lifetime. And by then, they might be gone. We live in a world that moves extremely fast.
Men who engage in this behavior are essentially saying that a woman's worth as a person depends on whether she pleases them visually, while expecting their own worth to be evaluated on much deeper criteria. The solution isn't complicated, but it requires conscious effort and self-reflection. Men need to examine their own behavior patterns and ask themselves honest questions about how they interact with different women. Are you giving the same level of respect, attention, and basic human decency to all women regardless of their appearance? It means recognizing that every woman deserves to be treated as a complete human being, with thoughts, feelings, talents, and contributions that have nothing to do with how she looks. It means understanding that your personal attraction to someone doesn't determine their value as a person or their right to be treated with dignity. The sad truth is that this pattern of behavior reveals more about the men who engage in it than it does about the women who experience it. It shows a fundamental inability to see women as full human beings rather than objects for male consumption and evaluation. Change starts with awareness, then moves to action. Every small shift toward treating all women with equal respect and dignity matters, because ultimately, how we treat those who can do nothing for us reveals who we really are as people.